Welcome to the Membership Guys podcast. Kick-ass advice and tips for membership site owners.
Hey everyone, Mike Morrison here with episode 131 of the Membership Guys podcast, the show that dispenses proven practical tips each and every week for helping you to grow a successful membership website. And that is what we're talking about today, membership growth. As we enter a new year, I'm sure a lot of you have got growth in mind. What can you do in 2018 to really kick things into another gear with your membership? Today, I'm going to look at some of the key areas you should be making a priority in order to help you to grow your membership this year. Starting off with the obvious one, if you want to grow your membership, first and foremost, you need to improve member acquisition and improve member retention. Both of these go hand in hand. In fact, retention is perhaps even a little bit more important than getting new members in through the front door. Because, of course, memberships are a retention business. You don't survive off 1 month long member life cycles. You need people to stay subscribed and stick around month after month, year after year. So a top priority in 2018, and really always for membership site owners, should be constantly looking for ways to just move the needle and just make incremental improvements in terms of attracting new members and, more importantly, getting them to stick around. My top tip for this is a very simple one, but it's highly effective. Simply talk to members who join, members who don't join, and members who leave. From the members who join, you want to know where they found out about you, why they are joining, what they hope to achieve. All of this stuff is going to help you to zero in on the channels that you should perhaps focus your 2018 marketing activity on. If you're finding out that 50% of all your members joined because they listened to a podcast episode, then perhaps that's a good sign that you should look at ways of moving the needle in terms of encouraging more of your podcast listeners to sign up, because it's obviously a fruitful marketing channel. But it can also be a good sign of what channels aren't working. If you are blogging once a week and you're putting so much time and effort into putting out written content, but not a single member who joins your site is citing your written content as a reason they heard about you or a reason they joined, then again, that could be an indicator of what you need to refine. You also want to talk to people who didn't join your membership. So people who are on your email list, but for whatever reason, 6 months, 12 months, or however long has passed, and they're not a member. Why not? Is it that they don't understand your product? Is it that they do understand, but they don't feel it's quite right for them? Or is it that they joined your email list because, for example, they took part in a contest where you were giving away an iPad or an Amazon Dot or something like that 12 months ago that has no relevancy to the topic? They're just on your email list because they wanted a free bit of tech. They wanted a free gift through your competition or something like that. All of this helps you to really zero in on the stuff that matters and stop wasting time on the stuff that doesn't. It could be that there are some very quick fixes, some low-hanging fruit in terms of little adjustments that you can make to your messaging, to the emails you send, to how you target your lead generation to help to improve the conversion rate. And you're only going to find this stuff out when you actually talk to these people. And of course, on the retention front, you want to understand why people are leaving. Are they leaving because your membership didn't meet expectations? Because it's too expensive? Because they don't have the time or they're overwhelmed? Each of those different things points towards a different priority in terms of your retention strategy, but you're only going to know what to focus on in 2018 on the retention front if you find out why people are leaving. Which hole do you need to plug up? So while there's all sorts of things you can do on the member acquisition and retention front in 2018, I would definitely say start by talking to those three groups of people. People who joined, people who didn't join, and people who joined but then left. They hold the key to helping you zero in on what you should be focusing on in 2018. So that's area number one to focus on this year. The second area to look at in 2018 when it comes to membership growth is to explore other potential revenue streams. Now, there's generally two paths you can go down if you're a membership site owner. Path number one is the membership only route. So this is where you want your membership to be literally the only thing that you do in your business. The only thing you offer to people. It is 100% of your business focus, and you have no intention of adding any other element into the mix. The second path is to build an ecosystem. Now, I like this sort of model. So you can create essentially a product suite, a selection of different offerings that you put out there to your audience. And at the heart of all of that stuff, you have your membership. So your membership is still a core focus, but on the back of that membership, you perhaps run live events. Maybe you do some co-authored courses with other people, or maybe you create your own standalone courses. Perhaps you write books, maybe you sell physical products and all of that sort of stuff. And if you have that kind of ecosystem, your membership doesn't have to be at the heart of it. But personally, I think it's the best place to put your membership, because you have that center base of raving fans who have proven that they are willing to put their hand in their pocket and pay you money for solutions to their problems. So it makes sense that that is at the heart of anything else you might want to offer. It makes sense that these guys are your prime market for other ways of serving them through mastermind events, serving them through conferences, through books, through products and stuff like that. So have a think about whether or not there are other revenue streams that you want to explore in 2018. Do you want to build that sort of ecosystem and develop some other products for your audience? Again, speak to your audience. Think about the feedback you're getting. Ask them, how else can we help you? How else can we serve you? Now, that's for path number two, the ecosystem. If you're someone who's down path number one, the membership only route, where you only want to have a membership site, there's still potentially other revenue streams that you can explore. At the very least, you could be looking at ways in which you could tap into affiliate commission revenue for the software, services, events, tools, products, anything else that you're already recommending to your members. Find out whether those products or those services have some form of affiliate program, and make sure that you're getting commission for those recommendations. A good litmus test, and I know not everyone's comfortable with affiliate marketing, but a great litmus test is whether or not you would already recommend this stuff regardless of whether you'd be getting a commission. If the answer is yes, then you may as well get a commission, because actually you earn it by making that recommendation. Because otherwise, that company would need to spend money in order to get their message out there. If you're being their messenger, then they are willing, if they have an affiliate program, they're basically saying, we are willing to pay you to market our products, because otherwise we would have to pay that money to market the product anyway. So even if you only want to build a membership website, look at whether there are other untapped revenue streams that you are potentially leaving on the table that would make sense for you to really dig into during 2018. All right, so the third thing that you should be working on, or at least exploring in order to grow your membership this year, is ways of refining your offering. So as your membership grows, so too should your understanding of your audience, your member base, what works and what doesn't work. You really need to be constantly on the ball with this, because observing what your members are actually doing, what's working for them, the stuff that you thought was going to go down like gangbusters, that just flopped. The thing that was maybe a little afterthought, the feature or the piece of content that you just threw together quickly, that was a surprise hit. All of this sort of stuff, you're only really going to find out when your membership base is growing and thriving and you're getting this kind of real-time feedback. So use that. Use the things that you're learning from your members to adjust your marketing, to adjust your actual membership, to help you to focus on doing just the things that work and eliminating other stuff from your offering. The longer your membership runs, the more refined your product should be, the more refined your marketing should be, the more refined your communication should be, because you should be continuously iterating based on member feedback. Because you should be continuously iterating as your understanding of your membership and your audience improves. So you can use this sort of thing to adjust things like the features that you choose to highlight on your sales page, the language that you use when you're describing the pain points that your membership helps address. When you're very first starting out, we have to make a lot of assumptions about all this stuff in order to piece together a marketing strategy. But with more experience under your belt, you should be able to use that member feedback and the insights that you've gained from observing how people are actually using your membership in order to challenge those assumptions that we tend to make very early on. So make sure that you are having periodic reviews of your sales page, that you are taking some time every 6 to 12 months to actually sit down and think, okay, is my plan, are the things that I've always had in mind long term for my membership, are they actually bearing true in terms of what members want based on the stuff I'm seeing in there day in, day out? Sometimes you just need to pull yourself away to give yourself that little bit of breathing room to really digest this stuff and to really challenge your assumptions about your member base once you've actually got that experience building up. So make sure, if you haven't done that for a while, if you haven't looked at how your emails are worded, how your sales page is structured, what features you're choosing to dedicate the screen space to on your sales page, and whether or not they are actually the things that are proving to be most popular or most used, take the time this year to take a look at all this stuff and find ways of refining your offering and refining your marketing based on your experience through your membership so far. And sticking with marketing, the fourth area to look at and to work on to grow your membership is stabilizing your marketing activity. Now, we talked a bit about this more in depth back in episode 128, where we discussed having a consistent baseline of marketing activity. So rather than just constantly doing all these big, audacious marketing campaigns and all this flashy stuff, where you always have just this constant flow in the background. So if nothing else goes on, if something comes up, there's always this marketing ticking away in the background, making sure that the awareness levels of your membership are constantly being held up, making sure that you're always putting stuff out there, social proof to demonstrate credibility, whether it's through content marketing, through your social media. That kind of consistent baseline activity that just ticks away in the background is vital, especially if you have an evergreen membership that's always open. You need that consistency, that evergreen marketing taking place. So having that sort of baseline marketing activity, and back in episode 128, we talked about our approach for that, the DWM method. If you haven't already listened to it, themembershipguys.com/128. Go back, check it out after this episode, because that should be a focal point for you in 2018 to make sure that you don't have any huge gaps in your marketing activity. We've always seen that we've all got people that maybe we follow, whose content we subscribe to, who seem to just disappear for several months, and then they come back all guns blazing, and then it kind of just fizzle out again. It's because they don't have that consistency. If you can stabilize your marketing and get this baseline of activity going on, then that helps you avoid constantly chasing your tail, constantly reacting to things and doing stuff at short notice with no real strategy. It also helps you avoid just throwing a lot of stuff at the wall and waiting to see what sticks. You need to be more methodical, more strategic, plan this marketing activity well in advance, and make sure that you're actually being consistent with it. So that's area number 4. Number 5, you need to get to grips with your numbers. You need to have a thorough understanding so that at any point, if someone were to ask you, what's your average monthly recurring revenue? You know. Not necessarily down to the penny or down to the cent, but you at least can answer that question. You need to get a grip with your numbers. So many membership site owners don't. And if you don't know your numbers, you don't really have a good barometer for how your business is performing and what the main problem areas or the main focal points should be. So there's 3 areas you really need to get your numbers down pat. First is financial. So this is things like your turnover, things like your member acquisition costs. So how much does it actually cost you to win a new member? Also things like profit margins. You'll see plenty of people bragging about their turnover, their gross income. They don't talk about their actual net profit. So you need to know roughly what those are off the top of your head. And of course, you need to know precisely what those are within your accounting. Gross and net member acquisition costs, average customer lifetime value. So how much is a new sign up worth on average? You need to know that sort of stuff when it comes to planning out marketing spend and ad budgets and so on. So you need to get to grips with your numbers on the financial front. You need to get to grips with them on the performance front as well. So what's your churn rate? That's a percentage of people who leave your membership on a month-to-month basis. What's your growth rate? That's a percentage by which your member base, your active member list number grows month to month, year to year. You need to get on top of this stuff. What's your engagement level? So this is the third area, financial performance and engagement. So how frequently are members doing key tasks on your site that demonstrates that they're actually engaged and using what they're paying for? So how many times are they doing things like logging in, completing courses, consuming content, posting in your community? How many of them, if you have, let's say, an onboarding checklist? So for an example, on membersiteacademy.com, we have a new member checklist, 5 tasks that every new member should complete to get them off to the best possible start. How many people are completing all of that stuff if you have something like that on your own membership? You need to get to grips with these numbers so you have that thorough understanding of your business, because you can't scale a business if you don't actually understand how it's really performing. Next thing you need to work on this year to grow your membership is developing processes. Solid processes are the bedrock of successful businesses, and they are crucial for growing a membership site. Most memberships will involve some sort of content production. They will involve some sort of community. So you need processes for helping you to streamline that content production and make sure that it's consistent, make sure that it flows and that it's not taking up more of your time than it should do. You need processes for things like customer service. If you're getting complaints, if you're getting queries sent in through a support form, what's your process for dealing with that stuff? Work on documenting step by step the tasks that you're completing more than once within your membership, and get this stuff into a project management tool like Asana or like Trello, where it can become a repeatable template. Trust me, if you're not already documenting and using set processes, start doing it. Your membership will thank you for it. And having those solid processes in place will help with the next area to focus on for membership growth, and that is batch producing content. Again, a big part of your role as a membership site owner will be that of a content creator. But if you're creating content just in time, so that course that you just released, so you've got a course coming out next week, and that means this week you're going to actually create it. If you're always doing that, you're always going to be in panic mode. You're always going to have that stress and that strain and those impending deadlines for that next podcast, that next blog article, that next piece of membership content. The most successful memberships batch produce their content well in advance of when it's released. That enables you the freedom and the space to actually make sure that you are getting the absolute best outcome from releasing that content. So you're making sure that the blog articles, the podcasts you're releasing are timed perfectly to coincide with your marketing campaigns, your promotions, your membership content releases. You'll also be able to sleep a lot easier and have a lot less stress knowing that you've got your membership content taken care of for the next few months. So you're not worrying about whether you're delivering enough value to members. Remember, memberships are a value exchange. You want people to pay you on an ongoing basis. You've got to deliver value on an ongoing basis. And a large part of that in most memberships involves creating content. Again, that consistency we talked about is crucial here. And so batching content 3 months in advance at least, where maybe you spend the first 2 weeks of every quarter just batch producing and mass creating the content for the remainder of that quarter. If you do that, Not only will it help you to become more consistent, but it also means that your headspace as well as your task list get cleared out from all of that ongoing content grinding in order to give you the time and the space to be able to plot out your marketing campaigns, to spend time digging into your conversion rates and stuff like that. So start batch producing your content. Try and do it for the next month. To start off with, just try and create a month's worth of content in advance. So that may be, if you're doing a podcast, 4 podcast episodes. Perhaps you release 2 bits of membership content in a month, so get those done, and maybe a blog post or 2. Set aside a week where your entire focus is just creating that, and then schedule it for release. And in 3 or 4 weeks' time, you spend another week and you create the following month's content. Then next time you do it, try and create 6 weeks or 8 weeks worth of content, and just gradually try and cover more ground when you're batch producing that content. The further ahead you can get of yourself when it comes to creating that content, the more impact you can actually make with that content itself. So again, all successful membership sites do this. This is perhaps the central core output of most memberships for those of you who are listening here. So the more you can streamline this, the less you will get consumed in that day-to-day. And the less you're consumed in that day-to-day, the more you can actually do with your time and the more effective you can be in actually pursuing membership growth. And the final thing that you need to focus on this year for growing your membership is building a team. Of course, one of the best ways to free yourself up to focus on the really important stuff is to hire a team. So bringing in people to handle the stuff you're not great at, or the stuff where your attention isn't best spent. So that might be technical stuff like website support and actually fixing any bugs on your website. It might be things like editing videos or editing podcasts where you can end up spending hours and hours doing this stuff. And actually someone who is much better at it could probably do it in half the time. Maybe it's a case of just bringing in virtual assistants to take care of some of the more day-to-day things. Maybe it's admin tasks or your social media scheduling and stuff like that. A lot of memberships benefit from a community manager so that there's always somebody in there, even if you're particularly busy, or maybe you have your week where you're batch producing content and as such, you're not as available to be hands-on in the community. Having a community manager is a good way of making sure that your members aren't being neglected when you are focusing on other things. So look at areas where you're spending the most time in your membership and ask whether that task is something you should actually be directly involved with. If you weren't doing this, could it still get done? Some things, like obviously sitting and delivering training face to camera, only you can do that unless you happen to have a twin sibling. But other stuff, editing your podcast, adding your content, your lessons to your website, that sort of stuff doesn't necessarily need your direct involvement. Maybe it needs you to check some stuff at the beginning, check some stuff at the end. But actually, if there's 20 steps, again, this is where having these processes we talked about is key. If there's 20 steps in a process, if you can whittle down your involvement from all 20 to perhaps 5, then that is a 75% reduction in your workload on that front. So look for opportunities to bring in people better suited to fulfilling certain roles in your membership. Build your team in 2018. And of course, if you want a real in-depth look at actually building that team and where to start, make sure you check out our workshop inside Membersite Academy with the one and only Chris Ducker, author of Virtual Freedom, which is basically the handbook on how to actually use virtual assistants and the like in order to grow and scale a team. If you're an Academy member, we've got that workshop inside the Academy. Check it out in the library. It's a great insight into what you should be focusing on to actually build out a team for your membership. Okay, so let's just recap those things that we've discussed, those key points, key areas that you should be working on to grow your membership this year. First and foremost, improving member acquisition and retention. That's an obvious one. You want to grow, you need to get more members and keep a high proportion of them. Start exploring other revenue streams. Are you building an ecosystem? Or even if you're not, are there untapped sources of revenue that you're leaving on the table? Think about how you can tap into the experience that you've gained so far in running your membership to refine your offering and how you actually market it. and ensure that you're working this year on stabilizing your marketing activity by having that consistent baseline that we talked about back in episode 128. If you want to scale a membership, you need to actually understand how it's performing. So that means you've got to get to grips with your numbers and get more organized, get more consistent right across the board by developing processes, batch producing your content well in advance. And you're going to find it far easier to do that if you actually work on starting to build out your team behind the scenes running your membership. So if you're really wanting to step things up with your membership growth in 2018, then these are the sort of areas you need to be focusing on. And we've got something pretty awesome lined up this month that's going to help you to do just that. From January 15th, we're going to be running a very special online bootcamp to help you to kick off 2018 the right way. Over the course of a week through this bootcamp, we're going to help you to plan out your entire year. From the big stuff like goal setting and planning out your promotional activity, through to the nitty-gritty day-to-day, month-to-month tasks of plotting out your content and implementing that consistent marketing strategy that we talked about in this episode. Each and every day of this bootcamp, Callie and myself will be working with you to drill down into the key components of a winning membership plan and to help you to map out the entirety of 2018 so you've got that complete roadmap for taking your membership to the next level this year. Now, this is where we tell you the price of this bootcamp and you feel your buttocks start to clench, right? Well, you can relax because this is not going to cost you a thing. Not a single penny. You don't even need to be a member of membersiteacademy.com in order to take part in our 2018 kickoff. All that we ask is that you make a commitment to yourself that you're going to hunker down and follow through on the plans that we'll be making together. That's the price of admission. So, if you're up for making 2018 the absolute best year yet for your membership, head on over to themembershipguys.com/2018 kickoff. So that's 2018 kickoff for more details and to sign up before January 15th. And if you're listening to this episode after that date, then I'm sorry, you've missed it. But we will be running a few intensive bootcamps like this throughout the year, so make sure that you sign up to our email list to make sure you don't miss out again. Now, this online bootcamp is definitely more geared towards people who already have their membership in place. You've already been going maybe 6 months or so, you've got that momentum, and now you're looking at how to actually grow and scale, how to get that consistent activity in place, how to really get ahead with your content, how to have that baseline of marketing activity and complement it with big, shiny, noisy promotions. This is the sort of stuff and more that we're going to be covering as part of our 2018 kickoff bootcamp. So it's not really for people who are still in the process of wrestling with the tech and trying to pull their membership together, or necessarily for people who just have an idea about a membership but they haven't actually built it yet. This is for people who are up and running and looking to really nail down their plan and their strategy for 2018. Check it out, themembershipguys.com/2018 kickoff. I look forward to working with you to make 2018 an absolutely awesome year for you and your membership. Okay, that's it from me for this episode. Hopefully you found this useful. I'd love to hear from you guys about your top takeaways from the episode, what you're going to be doing on the back of it. Let us know inside the free Facebook group, talkmemberships.com. We'll get you to that Facebook group. It'll do a little magical redirect because it's a lot easier to tell you to go to talkmemberships.com than to give you the actual Facebook address for the group. So head on over there. Let me know your top takeaway from this episode, or if you prefer Twitter, shoot me a tweet at membershipguys and let me know what you think. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll be back again next week with another installment of the Membership Guys podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode of the Membership Guys podcast, we invite you to check out the membersiteacademy.com. The Membersite Academy is the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing and running a membership website. So whether you're still figuring out what your idea is going to be, or whether your website is already up and running and you're just looking for ways to grow it and attract new members, then the Member Site Academy can help you to get to the next level. With our extensive course library, monthly training, exclusive member-only discounts, perks and tools, and a supportive, active community to help you along the way with feedback, encouragement and advice, the Member Site Academy is the perfect place to be for anyone looking to start, manage and grow a successful membership website. So check it out at membersiteacademy.com.